Hello and welcome to Tech Talks with IEEE Canada, stories that inspire change. I am your host, Inderpreet, and today we will continue our journey of celebrating women professionals whose bold decisions, technical leadership, and global vision are shaping the future of engineering and technology. On behalf of IEEE Canada, we acknowledge that this event is taking place on the traditional lands of Indigenous peoples. We respectfully acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional territory of Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. This land is also the home of Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is also home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work, learn, and collaborate in this land. We honor their past, present, and future contributions, and we recognize that our shared responsibility to foster respect, inclusion, and reconciliation within the engineering and technology community. Tech Talks with IEEE Canada, stories that inspire change. Our theme for women professionals, bold journeys, real impact is not just a tagline. It reflects the lived experience of women who are building systems, influencing policies, and driving innovations with purpose. Today, I am honored to have the first guest of this series, Sneh Lata, a product and AI governance leader working at the intersection of AI strategy, cloud innovation, and enterprise risk. With over a decade of experience leading global product transformation, she is shaping how scalable AI systems are built responsibly, ethically, and with operational excellence. Sneh, welcome to the show, and it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm truly excited to be part of Tech Talks with IEEE Canada. And today, AI governance, the topic which we're going to be discussing, is very close to
Mhm.
my heart because we are living in a time where intelligent systems are shaping real human outcomes, be it in hiring, finance, healthcare, and beyond. And I'm really looking forward to share my experience on what I have learned about building responsible AI systems that people can trust.
Okay, Sneh, we are hearing so many terms like AI ethics, AI risk, compliances, governance, and sometimes we all seem to be blend together. So, for our listeners who may not work in this space very every day, can you help simplify this for us? What does AI governance actually sit in the bigger picture, and how do we all pieces connect?
Sure. And that's a great place to start because these terms are often used interchangeably. I like to explain it. First, law. So that defines what you must do. It sets the minimum acceptable standard. It tells you what is legally required, what you are obliged to do. So, law typically sets the floor. Second is the compliance. That is how you operationalize those laws. It ensures your policies, documentation, and controls, they actually meet those regulatory requirements. Then comes the ethics, and ethics ask a deeper question. Not just is this legal, but is this responsible? Ethics challenges us to think about fairness, bias, transparency, and long term societal impact. It pushes us beyond what we are required to do towards what we should do. And then comes the risk management, which identifies where harm could occur, model bias, data misuse, drift. We see this
Mhm.
nowadays, explainability gaps. And AI governance connects and coordinates all of these. So it's not a checklist, and I would say it is the coordinated control system. It brings legal obligations, ethical principles, compliance processes, and risk management together into one structured framework. Governance ensures that AI systems are designed, deployed, monitored, and improved in a way that is legally compliant, ethically sound, and operationally controlled throughout their life cycle. So, in simple terms, you can say like law sets the floor, ethics raises the bar, and the bar is just not desirable, today it's necessary. Compliance operationalizes it, risk anticipates the failures, and governance orchestrates it all.
Wow, that's amazing. Like how wonderfully or in a simple and powerful way you have framed it. I hope that clarity is incredibly helpful for our learners too. Sneh, like your work sits at the intersection of AI strategies, governance, frameworks, and enterprise scale innovation, which is incredibly relevant in today's rapidly evolving technological landscape. We are living in an era increasingly shaped by autonomous technologies. Organizations are racing to deploy intelligent systems, yet governance and accountability often lag behind the innovation. From your perspective, how can organizations balance speed of AI innovation with responsible deployment?
In that, I believe speed and responsibility, they are not opposites. The mistake many organizations make is treating governance as a final checkpoint, something you do after building the model. But in reality, governance must be architectural. So you define ownership, risk tiers, documentation standards, and monitoring before deployment.
Mhm.
Once those guardrails are clear, teams can innovate confidently inside them. Innovation should move fast, and governance should move first. So when governance is embedded early, it doesn't slow teams down. It just removes the uncertainty and streamline the entire workflow. So if you incorporate governance right in the beginning, it helps running the entire workflow and building and developing and deploying the right, fair, bias-free AI systems.
Mhm. Wow. You have simplified what often feels overwhelming. So, moving further, what does trustworthy AI truly mean in and regulated and enterprise environments?
Trustworthy AI means four major things in regulated environments. One
Mhm.
is traceability, explainability, accountability, and the human oversight. So, if an AI system makes a decision affecting someone's career, credit, or especially health, you must be able to answer three questions: who owns this decision? How was it made? And what happens if it's wrong? So, trust is not built through marketing language, it's built through proper documentation, monitoring the system, setting the cadence, and following the discipline process. That's how you build the trustworthy AI.
Mm, wow, that bigger picture perspective really puts things into context now. So, how do governance frameworks evolve alongside cloud and AI transformation?
See, traditional governance was periodic. We have seen
Mhm.
annual reviews or static documents. And when we
Yes.
talk about cloud and AI, they require continuous governance because models update very fast. Data drifts, use cases are expanding across geographies and borders. We are seeing it. And governance becomes life cycle based. The intake, the risk tiering, approval gates, deployment controls, monitoring, remediation. So it shifts from a checklist mindset to an operating system mindset. That's how governance frameworks are evolving today in cloud and AI transformations. Inder, I can't hear you.
Oh, let me check my system. Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Sneh. I love how you position governance not just as a constant, but as a strategical enabler. That makes the conversation, I think, much more empowering now. You have worked on scalable AI grounded in ethics and risk management. I would love for you to share an example where governance enabled innovation rather than slowed it down.
Yeah, sure. I'll share example like from my previous work experience. And the
Mhm.
example which comes from my time at Bank of the West, where we built a risk based acquisition fee model for non prime auto lending. So the business wanted to grow aggressively in a higher risk segment. Instead of rushing, we first structured the controls, transparent pricing logic, clear documentation, defined ownership across underwriting and risk, and strong reconciliation processes. So because governance was embedded from the beginning, the expansion was defensible, scalable, and aligned with the regulatory expectations. Another example I can share from Gap, where I worked on vendor managed inventory within the responsive supply chain initiative. So, before scaling the automated replenishment across thousands of stores, we built validation checkpoints, we built integration controls, we set the monitoring thresholds to prevent inventory distortion. So, the result was faster replenishment cycles, reduced shipments, and millions in operational savings. But importantly, it was controlled growth. So that's what governance should do. It should not block the innovation, it should not slow the innovation down, but it makes it sustainable. So that's how in rapidly evolving innovative systems, once you build the governance, then you see the progressive changes over there.
Mhm. Wow. So thank you for sharing it. Let's shift to our conversation to something on leadership. So leadership in AI governance requires technical depth, strategic thinking, the courage to make difficult decisions, especially when navigating risk and accountability, as you said. So what leadership qualities have been most critical in your journey?
In that I always follow the basics. So I always say to myself and to others as well, stick to the basics. Don't get bored with the basics. So three qualities that actually shape my journey is very foundational. Just structured thinking, even under ambiguity. Second is the calm decision making, even in high risk environments. And third one is my favorite, which is the ability to translate technical complexity into executive clarity. So once you can translate complex things into simple, you can scale on simplicity. You cannot scale complexity. So across my experience in retail, banking, and AI, I have learned that leaders are bridges. You move between engineers, compliance team, customers, executives, different stakeholders, and each conversation requires a different language, but everything is aligned to the same vision. So I just lead by example, roll off my sleeve whenever it needs to be, and get the work done.
Wow, that's so insightful. So I think if I try to say in my words, the basic, being grounded, being humble is the foundation strength of a pillar, is one of the pillar of your journey, right?
Right, well said.
So as a woman professional leading in AI strategy, enterprise risk, what unique challenges or advantages have shaped your path?
That's an important question. AI strategy and enterprise risk are environments where decisions have real financial and human consequences. And I have built my career not just on delivering AI systems, but on asking harder questions. Who owns this decision? What happens if it's wrong? And can we defend it after a year or two or five from now? And I think one advantage I bring is a governance first mindset in rooms that are often innovation first. So I'm comfortable challenging assumptions and introducing structure. And responsible AI leadership requires both technical authority and moral clarity. And I have intentionally developed both because AI models need to be fair and inclusive, transparent, accountable, explainable, human centric, environmentally sustainable. These are the pillars which, before even you move into the innovation, you really need to think through, and you should be able to answer. It's not just we can build it, we should build it. So these are some of the qualities which I see while building the AI strategy and the governance framework.
Wow, so challenging but so inspiring. Moving further, how can organization better support women stepping into emerging technology, especially in leadership roles?
Especially in leadership roles, I think now women are coming forward as well. And in the AI system and governance, if I see my journey, uh, for me, mentorship has been extremely important. I have been mentored by the leaders from whom I have learned in my retail transformation, banking risk systems, and I have been doing the same thing. I see it as my responsibility now
Mhm.
to mentor others, and especially women entering in AI and governance and bringing them forward so that their advisory, their deep rooted knowledge can be beneficial to this part of the industry as well.
So thoughtful. Sneh, at IEEE Canada, we focus on empowering women professionals to lead with confidence and clarity. What advice would you offer to women, young professionals entering AI, cloud innovation, or product leadership today?
I would say master your fundamentals first.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, like the basics are very, very important. And if you're entering into the AI field, especially on the governance side, then understand the risk as deeply as you understand the technology. Build credibility first before the authority. And remember, ethics is not a slide in your presentation, it is a real architecture in your system. And the future of the AI will not be shaped by the smartest models, it will be shaped by the most responsible leaders. So focus on the fundamentals.
Wow. So simple, but so strong. Sneh, AI governance is not just built in silos. We all should know, and we all know it. It requires cross-functional collaboration across legal, technical, policy, and executive teams. How do you foster alignment between product team, compliance leaders, and stakeholders? Like what type of synergy you would like to foster?
Yeah, I use a simple framework: people,
Mhm.
process, and proof. So, first it comes to people. So, define the clear accountability. And in AI governance, this is very important. When you lay down the architecture, you clearly define who owns what, who owns the sign off, who owns the kill switch. So, defining the accountability is the first part. Then, look at the process. So, set the risk tiered workflows. High risk workflows are not same as the low risk workflows. So proportionately, the depth varies. So you set up the process. And then third is the proof, the documentation, monitoring evidence that speaks for itself. And when everyone knows their role, their escalation path, and evidence requirements, alignment becomes much easier and governance debates become data driven, not opinion driven. That's how handling all the different business unit and the stakeholders once you put this simple framework down.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. And you have just mentioned, acknowledged the mentorship role of mentorship. So, what role has the mentorship played in your professional journey?
As I said, like I feel really grateful for my leaders from whom I have learned early in my career as well. And then during the retail transformations and banking risk systems, AI product design, and now as well in governance frameworks, mentorship has been extremely important. They accelerated my pattern recognition. So you start seeing risks earlier, and you became eligible to make bolder decisions with more clarity. So definitely, mentorship has been extremely vital, and now I see myself as to mentor others to to bring them forward. So what I have learned, I try to give it back as well.
Wow, so inspirational. So, before we close, I would love to shift to a more personal reflection. Looking back on your journey, what has been your boldest decision?
I think the boldest decision I made was pivoting into AI governance before it became mainstream. I could have stayed purely on product acceleration. Instead, I chose to focus on accountability and oversight, knowing governance would define the future of enterprise AI. So it was a long term bet, and I stand by it. So far, I think it's pivoting into this part of the sector has been the boldest decision for me so far.
Wow, that takes real courage. Sometimes, the boldest moves are the quietest one, and that's inspiring. What impact are you most proud of?
Uh, Out a couple of the things, I think I'm most proud of building systems that quietly protect people. As I said earlier, that AI systems or innovations are making decisions for people's career, credit, or health. So this becomes a responsible and accountable part to deliver fair and inclusive systems. And when systems treat people fairly and transparently, that matters. So I'm really proud of for my team as well for building and delivering very fair and unbiased systems that quietly protect the people and keep the integrity aligned.
Wow, that is a legacy level impact. It is a beautiful how impact becomes personal. And when we step back, impact is not always about scale, it is about the significance. And you really truly said it and mentioned it. Thank you for sharing. And in one sentence, what does real impact means to you?
Real impact means building intelligent systems that scale innovation while protecting
Mhm.
human dignity.
Wow, I'm sure that is a sentence our listener will remember. And finally, what message would you like to leave with our listeners who aspire to lead in technology while staying grounded in ethics and purpose, like your success mantra?
My success mantra is simple. I believe in simplicity. And as I said earlier, also stick to the basics, stick to the fundamentals, understand the things, clarify first what you are building, whom are you building it for, and what problem are you solving. So just take a step back and drill it down deeper to just know the core of what you are building. And remember, like ethics plays a very important role, and we have a whole segment AI ethics because these are the kind of the models which are self trainable. So you really need to think it through, not just you can build it, whether you should build it or not. So working on these lines and remembering the 8 pillars of building AI system. First, legally compliant, then seeing whether it's fair and inclusive, then checking it's technically robust and secure. Is it
Mhm.
transparent? Is it accountable? Is it explainable? Is it human centric? Very
Mhm.
important, and environmentally sustainable. So once you remember these 8 pillars and stick to the basics, I'm sure AI will not be shaped by the smartest models. It will be shaped by the most responsible leaders. And I'm sure our listeners uh, will get to know the basics of the uh, AI governance and how you can build, deploy, and decommission these models. So the whole life cycle is very important. Yeah.
That reflects exactly what we stand for: bold journeys, ethical leadership, and real impact. Lead with brilliance, anchor in values, and that is, I think, the takeaway of today's podcast. So, Sneh, thank you for sharing not just your experience, but your journey, your courage, and your heart. Conversations like this remind us that real impact is not accidental, it is intentional. Your work reminds us that innovation without accountability is incomplete, and that women professionals are not only participating in shaping AI, they are defining its future. So, to our listeners, thank you for joining us on Tech Talks with IEEE Canada, stories that inspire change. Until next time, keep leading boldly, innovating responsibly, and creating real impact. I am Inderpreet, and it's IEEE Canada. Thank you so much.
Thank you.